Now, in Woking, the Borough Council have worked out ways to help hoarders, and soon they're going to be hiring a dedicated full-time hoarding project officer. Councillor Ellen Nicholson is the portfolio holder for Living Well and joins us now. Ellen, good morning to you.
Good morning, Peter.
Thank you for joining us. So what's the difference between, say, keeping a drawer or cupboard just sort of full of stuff and full-scale hoarding?
So I think it's important to recognise, as Richard described there, the first signs of the build-up of clutter, the refusal to throw things away. But it's more than that. It's that persistent difficulty in throwing things out and the need to keep items. And then gradually, over time, rooms fill up with clutter, rendering things, unusable, really.
And I mean, so there becomes a point that there's a line then, isn't there, between sort of just keeping hold of stuff and then this sort of obsessive behaviour, and that, I guess, could be very difficult to spot, can't it?
Absolutely. It's very common, actually. There's more than 20,000 cases per year of hoarding in the UK, which is around about, 2 to 6% of the population. But it's under-recognised, and it's difficult to recognise as well. It can be quite hidden. And people, they become quite indecisive, or they procrastinate and don't wish to throw things away.
Yeah, I just wondered how many of us are just listening to you talking and thinking about this and going, gosh, hang on a second, which category am I in here? What local examples, and obviously we can't mention names or anything at all, but what local examples of hoarding have you heard of?
So we know from our partnership working with environmental health, fire and rescue and mental health organisations that this is incredibly common in Surrey. Obviously, I can't, name any examples, right. But this is a multi-agency working that we're looking at doing within Woking. I think that's probably, and each case is different, really, and each case can be quite time-consuming for an officer to deal with as well. Hence the reason we've brought in this new hoarding protocol and are recruiting into the post.
And actually on that then, so why is the council particularly concerned about it as a situation?
Well, as I said, this is partnership working alongside our NHS colleagues and environmental health. And I think you have to remember, if somebody has built up significant possessions within their flat or their home, it could be a fire hazard, it could be a vermin hazard as well. So obviously there's an environmental health risk as well as mental health risk there.
So this hoarding project officer that you're recruiting, what actually will be their job then? How will that work?
So this is a 2-year full-time project. As I said, it's funded together with our partnership working across all of those agencies. It fits in together with the prevention and wellbeing agenda of Surrey County Council, and they're really there to help identify and work alongside the people who have hoarding, and it creates a standardised pathway for referral for all of those multi-agencies to refer into. So it's a single point of contact, essentially, and it makes it easier for the council and those agencies to work with these people without duplication, really.
There's always talk, of course, Ellen, about what council spend council tax money on, and as part of this, I presume that's where some of the Woking council tax is going to be going. Do you feel that it justifies that sort of spend?
So actually this is NHS funded rather than council tax funded through our North West Alliance partners. So nothing to do with our council tax at this moment in time. And it's a 2-year project, as I said, and then obviously we'll evaluate and see what the outcomes actually are. So no worries to our council tax.
Great. Thank you for letting us know. That's an interesting point. So though back to obviously the council involvement, I understand it's multi-agency, etc., etc. So you at Woking Borough Council, what can you do in the end in cases like this? You're obviously recruiting this new position. Will things need to go further, or will that be it after you've had a look at it for 2 years?
Well, I think it really depends how successful the project is. It's around identifying those people, working alongside them, helping them to do such a thing as clutter imaging. So obviously there's a clutter imaging scale, and can we help them to sort out that kind of, procrastination and help them, just tidy things up a little bit. So as I say, working together with our partners, and it's around kind of sticking to that treatment plan, helping people, helping them to maintain that kind of personal care, and identifying any other issues that may need help as well.
Really interesting area, and I bet it's got a few people thinking a bit this morning as well. And what about you, Ellen? I mean, you know, when you're now obviously very close to this work and looking at it. I mean, did you at any point just think to yourself, hang on a second, do I keep a bit too much, or what? Have you thought about that at all?
Oh, Peter, absolutely. I keep too much paper. I do like paper. And occasionally I have to have a blitz on it. But I think that's the thing, isn't it? It's recognising that actually you have a little bit too much paper within the house from my personal experience, and I actually tidy it out. That may not be the case for some people. Can I just also say there is actually a national charity called hoardinguk.org, and they've been running since 2008, and they have kind of help groups for anybody who feels that they might be affected. So if anybody is listening in today, it might be worth them getting in touch with hoardinguk.org.
Great stuff. Thank you for mentioning that, because actually we're going to be talking to them after 8 o'clock on the programme this morning. So as part of this. Lovely to talk to you.
Give them a plug.
Yeah, indeed. Ellen, thank you for joining us and explaining through that. That's very interesting and good to know. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You're very welcome.
That's Councillor Ellen Nicholson from Woking Borough Council, portfolio holder for Living Well. As I say, we'll be talking more about this